So what I did, I made a PowerPoint presentation in order to help you with connecting the concepts, but my major idea here was based on the fact that I have a little bit of an accent, and for some of you, sometimes it is hard to understand me. Therefore, when you hear my voice and my pronunciation with support of written English, it will be absolutely perfect for us all. So let me start from sharing the screen with you. And I am going to put my presentation in a in this mode. Can everybody see it? I hope if Michelle can say to me, confirm if you can see it, then
yes, it looks good. It looks good, Eva. You're good to go.
Okay, so oops, something happened here. Okay, so this presentation is for educational purpose only, and it is not intended as medical advice. Feel free to make handwritten notes. However, recording this presentation in an electronic format is prohibited. No part of this presentation may be shared on the internet without the written permission of the presenter. This is just simply to protect us and inner source from any kind of issues that come from this presentation. We can discuss it among ourselves, but you will be able to access a recording of it done only and exclusively by Michelle. So I hope on that note we go forward, and the name of this presentation is Nature's Tuning Fork. We're going to explore a couple of Donna's techniques in terms of their connection to the whole body and how all of that started. It started from me working with clients and really investigating and examining what the techniques were doing for the whole body. So to give you an example, there is a technique I asked you to prepare to maybe read a little bit about. It's in class 6 under hormones, that is called activating the penetrating flow. Many of you, like from my experience working in year 3 CLP, many of you do not use it unless it is somebody has a hormonal issues. I want to invite you to play with it on a broader scale. I noticed that using this technique, I was able to help people not only with pregnancies issues, but also with back pain, with nervousness, with sleep disorders, with high blood pressure. Therefore, I took it out of hormones and started to chunk it out just simply to play with Donna's techniques. I also used it on myself. I take Donna's techniques and honestly use it on my body, putting myself in the mode of feeling the technique. What does it do in my body? Therefore, I can attune to my client, and I invite all of you to do the same. So I call the presentation Nature's Tuning Fork for a couple of reasons. One reason is that the whole universe vibrates, and we vibrate with that universe. When our tissues are moving, vibrating, we are alive and well. So the tuning fork was designed to create vibration. Well, psoas muscle have similar effect on the whole body, actually attuning the body to all kinds of different vibrations that create homeostasis in the body. So let's go forward a little bit and let's read that tuning fork is a metaphor that I resonate with thinking about psoas muscles and kidney energy concept. Tuning forks and psoas muscles share similar characteristics. In human body, one of the big tune-ups happens through the psoas muscle. Because psoas muscle can balance blood flow and oxygen and can vibrate tissues in balance. They also maintain the balance for the structure of the body. And they do so much more, and we're going to discover what else they do. Presentation takeaways. Creative and expansive way of using two major techniques for balancing the body. You'll be able to understand connections and apply the concepts with most of your clients. And incorporating these ideas in a session will bring your client back to balance much quicker. So references that you need for this presentation is activating the penetrating flow. It is class 6 energy medicine for working with hormones. I have it on page 22. You may have more updated materials, so please check the page numbers in your present materials. And ancient echoes from CLP3. This is a new technique for some, but I also know that some of the students already used it for numerous years. The additional reference material is vortex revival, freeing the diaphragm, min-min bounce, and maybe few other minor ones that you're going to discover as we go through the presentation. We're going to go through 2 stages. Stage 1 is review the kidney system, organ, and meridian, review of min-meng and review of diaphragm, and stage 2 will be the secrets of the mighty psoas. You will discover that after these presentations, all the secrets become simple knowledge that you'll be able to share with your clients and with your colleagues. So let's do a review of kidney organ. I'd like you to take a look at this illustration and notice that the kidney organ is positioned slightly above your waist on both sides of the spine. It shares its space in the body partially around the psoas muscle and diaphragm. So kidney organ is like a filtering sponge, a multifunctional powerhouse. We have 2 kidneys, one located on each side of the spine behind the stomach. Kidneys are bean-shaped organs the size of a fist. Kidney keep the composition of blood consistent. Kidney organ functions. Kidney filters water and toxins from the blood. Here I would like you to pay attention. Up to 144 liters of blood create 1 to 2 quarts of urine every day. 144 liters a day. Therefore, your kidney organ consistently is exposed to certain kind of pressure. To be able to process 144 liters of blood is a humongous job. Now, it makes hormones to regulate blood pressure. Protein angiotensin constricts vessels and help retain sodium and water. And also, kidney organ regulates red blood cells. Hormone erythropoietin sends signals to bone marrow to produce red blood cells when oxygen levels are low. Now, ask yourself, when oxygen levels are low in the body, we start to think about diaphragm, lungs, and breath. So you can start seeing an immediate connection between kidneys and lung. And what you know from 5 elements, lung and kidney, the energy there flows from one to another. Also, kidneys promote bone health, absorb minerals, and regulate and balance fluids. Now, I gave you a beautiful picture here of water and a dog, because water is fundamental to our well-being and our health. Now, with this idea, what I'd like you to look at is, what I'd like you to hear is a little bit about water and kidney. We need clean water. Kidneys need clean water for proper functioning. Therefore, we need to stay hydrated. Eating fruit and vegetables is beneficial for the kidney. However, drinking too much alcohol, having too much caffeine, having too many greasy foods may disturb kidney function. Also, having too much sugar and smoking is detrimental to the kidneys. People who can take calcium supplements may want to watch their kidney health, because calcium may contribute, too much calcium may contribute to kidney stones. Beneficial things for kidneys is folic acid and vitamin A. And folic acid is part of vitamin B, and you can find folic acid in foods like dry beans and peas and lentils, oranges, whole wheat products. You can find vitamin A in fish, poultry, eggs, plant-based foods, fruit, and vegetables as well. Now, I'd like to do a little bit of a review of kidney meridian. The meridian starts at the ball of the foot, runs across the soles of the feet, circulates around the ankle, and ascends along inner thighs towards the coccyx. I am giving you a little bit more detailed information about kidney meridian pathway because of the tests we do in energy medicine. One of the tests is tailbone tap. Some of you are not aware of that test. Some of you have never done it. Some of you never heard about this, but tailbone tap is a particular test for grounding. When we get too much energy in the body and that energy is not releasing, that energy may be stuck on tailbone, but more than tailbone, that energy may be stuck on whole hip area. Therefore, when you do the tailbone tap, you're releasing accumulated energy. What may happen, a person who has too much energy on the tailbone may also become emotional. That happened to me a few times in the therapy, and I thank God for neurovascular points. You know what to do when there's a little bit emotional reaction to the tailbone tap. You will soon discover why this is available. So kidney meridian flows up the spine to the organ itself and runs down to the bladder and up towards liver, diaphragm, and enters the lung. So the pathway runs up and down again to emerge in front. A small branch joins the heart, linking the pericardium. It terminates at the root of the tongue. However, the last point that can be affected with fingers or a needle is K27. Association with ears. When kidney energy is balanced, we can distinguish 5 sounds. So this is pretty big. So let's take a look at kidney meridian. This is from our materials. We are very familiar with this. And I have a notice here that, oh, good. My internet connection felt unstable for a second, but I think we are back to normal. And energy, kidney meridian functions. Energy of the kidney is the source of our life force. Kidney energy nourishes all of the body's pathways, the organs, and the brain. It supports physical vitality and mental clarity. It stores the energy of bones and the bone marrow and your teeth. It connects with the brain via the spine. The brain is also called the sea of marrow. The kidney is in charge of water and water metabolism, and the kidney differentiates fluids, clear fluids from turbid fluids. And more than that, kidney is a master of physical strength. Kidney stores the essence of orifices, therefore genitals and anus. Kidney supports fecal and urinary continence. You're going to have clients who are going to come to you with this kind of issues. Will, determination, and power of memory are attributed to the kidney meridian. The ability to keep secret is attributed to kidney leakage. In Chinese medicine, left kidney is the yin, right kidney is yang, and it stores the energy of Minmeng. I'm bringing Minmeng forward because we work a lot in energy medicine with Minmeng, and bouncing Minmeng can stand alone, but it also is part of a couple of techniques. When we do penetrating flow, we bounce the Minmeng. When we do ancient echoes, we can go and bounce the Minmeng as well. Kidney and Minmeng. Minmeng is energy. You can see on the illustration here the red dot, and it indicates governing force. This is the approximate area where the Minmeng is located. So it is a source of the 3 burners. This is from Chinese medicine. You may never heard about this, but that's how they discovered it. As described in Chinese literature, the igniting spark between the kidney is the origin of the various processes of human life. The base of the body is 5 yin and 6 yang, the root of 12 channel pathways, the door of breath, and the source of the triple warmer. So this is a closer illustration for you to see where Minmeng is. You can see it right here below the belly button. In the back is Minmeng, origin of the Minmeng. Every function among the organ networks rely on Minmeng's balanced warmth. So I have an information here for each and every meridian. So let's go through all of them. When the Min-Ming powers the heart, it becomes conscious. When it powers the liver, it can plan. When it powers the gallbladder, it can make decisions. When it powers the stomach, it can absorb food. When it powers the spleen, it can transport. When Min-Ming powers the lung, it can administer and regulate. When it powers large intestine, it can pass on the waste. When it powers small intestine, it can disseminate, spread throughout. When it powers the kidney, it can bring vitality. When it powers the triple burner, it can move fluids unabsorbed, unobstructed, and when it powers bladder, it can store. So remember, Min-Ming is an energy that can affect all 12 meridians in the body. Now, emotional aspect of kidney system. Emotions associated with kidneys will be fear, dread, terror, bad memory, fear of death, and unknown. Because kidney belongs to water element, we're going to also look at water element emotions: fear or paranoia, drowning, lack of flow of feelings, inability to adapt to changes, dread, blocked, overwhelmed. Fear is cold. Fear chills kidneys. Too much fear shrinks kidneys. Organs affect muscles, muscles affect organs. I'd like you to pay attention to this one, because in contrast with anger, anger is energy of heat. It's hot and it goes up. It goes towards heart and lungs and head. Fear goes down towards kidneys. When kidney organ receives too much cooling energy, kidney organ starts to shrink. Now imagine processing 144 liters of blood to produce urine when you are very tiny, very shrunk. It starts to be a problem for health in the body. So keeping kidneys warm is very important so they can function in balance. Now, did you know that latest medical technology links negative emotions to the disease like cancer and heart disorders? Research into sleep, social factors, family life, interactions with friends, stress, and more aims to help people to help themselves to get better. This comes from United Kingdom research from, I got it from reading articles on the internet, and this is confirmed fact. Now let's go to diaphragm. So far we know that we start to link together a little review of kidney and kidney meridian and what they do for the body. Now let's peek at the diaphragm and psoas. The diaphragm and the psoas, in a way, work together and are indirectly linked together. So the diaphragm medial ligament connects to psoas. Psoas muscle touches the spine where the diaphragm originates. Sternum, xiphoid process, and L1 to L3. When we breathe, psoas and diaphragm work together. Therefore, they provide spinal stability. Now, you can start to see that working with Min-Ming, working with diaphragm, and working with psoas starts to have a fuller picture of techniques Donna teaches us. Now, when we do not breathe properly, toxins accumulate in the joints and tendons become stiff. The next one is very important for us. Tendons give us flexibility and fluid movement, but also they absorb and discharge energy. Now, what happens with psoas muscle? Psoas muscle is the deepest muscle in the body. That psoas muscle that attaches to the spine in lumbar area and comes to the femur bone, that psoas muscle, the ligaments and tendons cannot be easily accessed. Therefore, discharging energy from overwhelmed psoas is very hard. So working with the techniques allows you to move those ligaments, allows you to move the tendons so the psoas can release accumulated energy that's been sitting there sometimes for many, many years. all the tendons in the body work together and they keep the skeletal structure intact. So let's look at the mighty psoas. You see two illustrations, one front, one back, the one in the color. Now around the L1, where there is a last rib, this is where diaphragm and psoas meet. You can see on front that from the femur bone, the muscle goes all the way to the L1 and connects on that last rib with the diaphragm. So the psoas muscle connects to the lumbar and the femur bone and goes deep in the body. Psoas muscle connects to the spinal cord and the reptilian brain via the fascia. That is a super important fact for you, because reptilian brain is the brain that is associated with triple warmer. Therefore, you can start seeing a relationship between psoas, nervous system, diaphragm, minmeng, and triple warmer, how much that one muscle really can control in the body. Psoas muscle and their purpose. They move legs, support spine and the lumbar region, support joint mobility and flexibility, and overall stamina and strength. When they are relaxed, they balance oxygen, blood, and lymph circulation. So now you can see why oxygen. Oxygen, because they connect to the diaphragm. When there is blood flow, there is oxygen, so blood and lymph. When blood moves, lymph circulates through the body. They allow earth energy to enter the body. When they are tight, the energy that comes from earth has much harder time to enter the body. They move energy upwards, supporting the spine. Stress psoas muscle affect adrenal glands and immune system, digestive issues, menstrual health and fertility, and on a physical level, back, knee, hip, and sciatic pain. Now, what happens when psoas muscle becomes so stretched and there's no counter movement, they start to pull on the vertebrae. Therefore, back pain can manifest. Psoas formed around important lumbar nerves. That is also important for us to know, because nerve tissue is deeply embedded into psoas. Under stress, psoas muscles deeply contract, and under stress, we experience shallow breathing. So right now you can see psoas and diaphragm communicate all the time. When we do our test for the diaphragm and person doesn't change, the breath doesn't change, you may want to go and work with psoas through different Donna's techniques. Now, emotional trauma and unresolved emotions respond well to breathing and laughter. I always like to put one of Donna's quotes or sayings or thoughts in my presentations. And this is, again, another one of my favorite ones. Choose happy over right. Always remember that being happy affects your psoas muscle and releases from your muscle. Now, there is a very easy exercise for breathing. Donna always says with her exercises, breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. You have to start doing this because that releases the psoas and diaphragm. To release tension from psoas muscle, you can use longer exhalation. And usually what we do, we inhale on 7 and release on 14. I'm just giving you this little technique here so you can start playing with the breath and see how does it change in your body. Remember, I like to take all the techniques and see how they work in my body. Therefore, I know I may expect similar results with my clients. Now, you know that the energy from psoas goes directly to the reptilian brain through the fascia. Now, let's talk about reptilian brain behavior. Under stress, our system instinctively moves into fight or flight reaction, which is a survival mode behavior. What does it mean? That means our best friend triple warmer has a lot to say, and there will be a lot of reaction in the body for self-protection. When psoas are activated, the nervous system keeps on getting message of danger alert. Therefore, there is a two-way pathway. The brain sends a message about stress, psoas muscle become very, very tight. When the muscle is tight, brain hears again, oh my God, there is danger, and the loop never ends. So here is your, probably sometimes a solution, where to go to release the signal of danger and alert. Psoas is considered a deeply positioned muscle with minimal release because it's very hard to get into that muscle and massage it. So emotions like anger, fear, and anxiety affect psoas muscle primarily. These are the emotions that are going to hit so quickly you don't even know that you are under stress. Stressors, any tension, and emotional waves. The biggest one that affects psoas is criticism. So don't be any more surprised when you get a little bit of a critique, you go tense or you go reactive, because it is almost normal to go there. Now you can start breathing and releasing that tension. Now, traits to observe in your client. Knowing that, we need to know what our client can present when they come to the room. Dominance, dominate or be dominated. These are features or characteristics you're going to see. Aggression, overall or over-exaggerated sex and seeking a mate. Rigidity, obsessiveness, compulsiveness, worship, fear, submission, and greed. These are the responses, these are the traits your client is going to show you. Donna's technique that help balance the psoas muscle. One of the techniques is opening the central sexual organ. I know this technique and I've seen Tanya presenting it plenty of times on the stage, and I always loved her attraction to this technique, how beautifully she presents it, and the results of the technique for the own body. So if you don't know the technique, I'm going to read it out for you. Laying down, let's try it together. Laying down or standing or sitting right now, you can cup your fingers and bring the 3 middle fingers of each hand together, back to back, fingernails touching. Let's do it. Place them about an inch above your pelvic bone. Push your fingers in. Sit this way or lie this way quietly for about 3 minutes. Notice the movement of energy. Now, what you are doing, you are pressing on 2 very important points in the body. Central 4 and central meridian 6. What happens on central 4? Central meridian 4 is the intersection for kidney, spleen, and liver. These 3 meridians join on that point, and when you press, you are helping these meridians move up the body. You are helping to release tension from these meridians. Now, with central 6, in Chinese medicine, it is associated as it is called kidney diagnostic point. So working with this point fortifies kidneys. So you have in that opening central sexual channel, you do much more than only working with sexual energies. You're working with kidneys, psoas muscle, diaphragm, min-meng, and everything else that is on that pathway. Now, another technique from Donna is harmonizing the triple warmer. These are all pasted from our books. You have it in your materials. These are not my words. These are words from our materials. So what I want you to remember from now on, that I don't see many of you doing it, therefore I brought it forward. When you put a hand on the person's forehead and another hand above the navel, you are using triple warmer as a radiant circuit, but you are really bringing a communication between adrenals, hormones, and triple warmer. You are relaxing this overcharge on adrenals. This will be probably in your class 4 materials. Another one that is absolutely fantastic, and I also don't see many students using it, summer rhythm, heart, small intestine, circulation, sex, and triple warmer, panic or loss of spirit. What I am here aiming for is the use of the sound what happens when we make this sound? The sound ha cools the heart and heats up the kidneys. Hardly anybody sees that relationship. When you release the warmth from the heart, that warmth doesn't vanish. It helps the kidneys to warm up. And remember, kidney functions much better when it's not cold. So there are mutual benefits between the two. When you make the kidney sound that releases the chillness, that chillness goes to the heart and cools down the heart. So the kidney exercise, the kidney breath, and the heart breath are really extremely balancing to the whole system. And therefore, you can see the relation between the heart, you can see relations between the kidney, you can see how that relation will affect psoas, diaphragm, min-meng, and the reptilian brain. Activating the penetrating flow. This one is absolutely crucial for us to look at and start using. Penetrating flow contains energy that needs to penetrate deep. The protocol is collection of few smaller techniques that activate the flow. We all know these techniques. Belt flow, it can activate the penetrating flow. Min-meng bounce, we know it. Mellow mudra, it is called right now reactivity pose. Some of you who know it under mellow mudra, I'm just using both names. It affects triple warmer and neurovascular. Sedating or three-point technique on kidney meridian and chakras. Now, what is important here? When we look at chakras, I don't know if you memorize steps by now. I use this technique very often. I use it almost in with every client sooner or later. There are 5 tests that we do. We do 3 tests on our belly when we put our hands, and your book has this test. I tell you, the tests are described as of point 4, the test, the whole protocol tells you about the positions of a client. I'd like you to try it. I'd like you to talk about this with your mentor. If you've never tried it, if you don't remember this ever being shown to you, ask your mentor to guide you through that, through positions of the hands. But this is the technique that involves participation of you as a practitioner or your client and your client. The client puts hands in the positions on the belly and you put your hands in the positions on the head. You join the positions. The first position is the client middle fingers are at the pubic bone and the rest of the hands lays down on the belly. Your hands are on the forehead holding main neurovasculars with reactivity pose. Now think about this. What happens when there is a communication between the two? I tell you that from my experience, beautiful things happened in person's body. Number 1, the psoas muscles started to relax. So even though we put it under hormones, it does much more than hormones. Do not limit yourself to only use it for clients who come with hormonal issues. I use it with men, I use it with women for many, many issues in the body. So when you hold, I tell you common reactions, when you hold your mellow mudra on the person's head and the client holds the pubic bone and the long finger in the area of the belly button, a person can go almost into shakes, like in a shock. These are not huge shakes, these are not overwhelming shakes, but these are shakes that shake down the stress. I've never had any negative reaction to it, but I had emotional reactions. You could see people suddenly crying. You can see people suddenly sighing. You can see people suddenly taking a beautiful deep breath all the way to the pubic bone and feeling a release in the body. And that will help on many different levels in the body. When you start a session from doing penetrating flow, you may help a person to open up before you can go to other techniques that are necessary to address during the session. The min-meng bounce, remember when you bounce the min-meng underneath of the person, allow them to softly lay on your hands. When they lay on your hands, that min-meng energy almost comes into your hands. You can push it up and release it all through the body. So now the meridians start to support the body with energies that are healing. They are not used for stress anymore. You liberate energies for health and healing and self-care. Now, another position is position of you holding the bladder points when the person, while the person holds the groin. This is another engaging whole water element and balancing nervous system, because now you know that a lot of nerves goes deep inside of the psoas muscle. Therefore, when you relax whole nervous system, that muscle has a chance to release accumulated charge. And sometimes you will get reaction you never expect, but they will be healing and balancing for the body. Sedating or 3-point on kidneys, you know how to do it. It further allows kidneys to relax and replenish. And chakras. Chakras is absolutely wonderful, because in that technique, you hold one hand on a second chakra, one on fourth chakra. This is important for you to remember. When kidneys and heart are balanced, when they talk and exchange information between each other, psoas muscle gets balanced. So when you hold person's energy, stay there a little bit longer. Allow kidney and heart to communicate. Remember, there is a tiny branch trajectory that goes from kidneys right to the heart. Therefore, kidney and heart communicate all the time. Now, I'd like you to now move to vortex revival. Donna describes it as tornado-like looking energy. It reinforces the movement of yin from earth and yang from heaven universe. Originally was created for women. Originally was created for women, but eventually is used for everybody. I tell you that in my practice, I have people who will tell me, I usually do vortex revival probably for 5 to 10 minutes. 5 is the shortest, but people will tell me that the energy in the head opened up. Kidney goes all the way to the head. Kidney, remember, governs bone and governs the skull, right? All the marrow, right? So that energy of kidneys, when it travels up the body and opens on its pathway, the psoas, the minmeng, the diaphragm, the heart, and all the way to the head, people would tell me, I am creative. I have ideas. It's easier to work. How wonderful. So it doesn't have to always relate to grounding, but it also can serve you opening the whole body, opening it on every level. Now, freeing the diaphragm, this one we know very well, but when you work with the diaphragm and you start to have a reaction as it doesn't hold, right? Let's read a little bit here about what it does. It is used for when you have problems with memory. What meridian governs memory? Kidney. Fear or distress. Again, we go back to kidney. Disconnect from the deepest forces of renewal. What is the deepest muscle in the body? This is the psoas muscle that kidney governs. Having trouble letting go of ideas, events, emotions. Every emotion in the body will hit psoas muscle. Therefore, when you free the diaphragm, you free much more than the diaphragm. I want to stop here for a second to add. Lungs perform a very important function. In a way, your lungs are like the highest gym instructor in your body. Take a deep breath into your lungs and hold it above the diaphragm. Feel it for a second. When it sits on top of the diaphragm, that breath holds only in the upper parts of the body. Now make a test. Take a breath in and pump it into your belly, kind of make a Buddha belly. My students usually know it under the name, hey, let's make a Buddha belly. Now, when you took the breath into your lungs, your diaphragm lowered down, and as it lowered down, the power of your lungs pushed on the internal organs. You created an internal gym. Most of the time we go to the gym and we exercise our muscles. Well, we have to exercise internal organs. They store emotions. Go back to 5 rhythms and 5 rhythm exercises. This organ store all kinds of different emotions. Diaphragm will allow the movement of diaphragm, and lung will allow to push that accumulated blood, that accumulated stress in the organs, and fresh blood will come in and support the organ. Therefore, diaphragm is much more than moving breath in and out. It's an internal gym for the whole body. Now, another one that I'd like you to pay attention is ancient echoes. Some of you, I think more than half of you this time, learn ancient echoes for the first time. I'd like to dissect it a little bit for you, and let's go with the movement of the leg. Pull the leg to the side. I know that many of you didn't memorize the technique, but when you go to the technique right now, I'd like you to look at the step one by one and ask yourself, what am I doing here? What part of the body cooperates with me and what part of the body doesn't cooperate with me? So when you pull the leg to the side and make the first test, usually leg doesn't open far. Ask yourself why. It doesn't open far because that psoas muscle is so tight, it simply cannot. We go and we check the tenderness of our glutes. And when the leg is weak, the glutes can be sore. Remember, they can be sore. They don't have to be sore. But if the leg is strong, this technique will help energy move. Now, what happens? So let's say we test the leg may be strong, and you may not want to sedate circulation sacs because you don't always have to. When you start to move the neck, you start to affect the accumulated energy on the psoas muscle. So circulation sacs governs different muscle. Kidney governs different muscles. So you are opening whole hip area by this technique. Normally, Donna would sedate circulation sacs, but with this technique, sedating may be replaced by ancient echo because ancient echo unlocks energies. Okay, the next thing I'd like you to listen to is that Donna says that there is an energetic lock. Normal things may not shift the issue, so we need to use a technique that helps the body to open and unblock before we address the presenting issue. So ancient echoes can be used before you start any techniques in your session. They don't have to be necessarily, the technique doesn't have to be necessarily used for just dealing with past hurts and blocked areas and unblocked areas. You can just simply use it in order to create movement through the body, openness through the body, and then see where the person will go. That technique, again, is made from many different steps. Don't be afraid to take steps apart and try, okay, I tried part of the step. I tried the middle step. I tried the last step. See what happens for your client. The more you play with it, the more versatile you become with the use of it, and the more you understand how human body talks to you based on the movements that you are performing. So relaxation is first principle to make energy flow. Now, ancient echoes relaxes the body. You know that after a while, when you start raising the head, suddenly the leg goes 90 degrees to the side or even further. What happens? I invite you to, if you can, if you cannot do it alone, do it with a partner. Raise the head up and put your hand underneath, the other hand underneath of the spine, and feel the movement of energy on the spine. Put your hand on the level of diaphragm, put your hand on the level of min-meng, and see what really happens when you start slowly lifting the client's head. I suggest do it with a friend when you play. Do it with a friend to investigate and find out what happens, because when you raise the head of the person in this crossed position of your arms, you are basically opening the place where the diaphragm and psoas attaches to lumbar area. That there is those ligaments, when they open, they release the energy that is blocked in the muscle. So once you do it a couple of times, send me an email and let me know about your success. So ancient echo techniques is a technique from the past. It could be, it releases an emotional trauma, physical injury, old pain, maybe issues, memories from a divorce, lost job, death, hurt, sickness. All of these things will somewhere there that affect the body will start to be addressed and released with that technique. Things that I think I lost. Oh no, it came back. Those emotional traumas, these physical injuries, they carry on muscles, chakras, cells, and organs. What is psoas? Is a huge muscle that can log those memories in. Chakras, you know, between second and fourth, how important it is to connect the two, cells and organs. You may not be conscious, your client may not be conscious about carrying these emotional traumas, but when you free the echoes, suddenly the energy can flow and you start accessing energies on a penetrating flow. Therefore, energies can penetrate deep and the healing can start. These are my final thoughts. Together, we have discussed some new and creative ways to address this mighty muscle in conjunction with energy medicine techniques. We've seen clearly the connections between reptilian brain, the fascia, kidneys, heart, our diaphragm, and psoas. And linking this together, you will be able to brainstorm through your session, enhance the results of your techniques. I invite you to try. The new principle of energy medicine could be enjoy and smile. When you smile, your sympathetic nervous system calms down. Smile carries a high vibration. Your radiant smile is energy of today. And here is our beautiful Donna for all of you to remember that smile. And you can absolutely start smiling to your psoas muscles, smiling to your diaphragm. You know where they are, smiling to your heart, to your kidneys, to your reptilian brain, and experience much softer life for yourself. So this is where I end, and I'm going to stop sharing the video and come back.
Eva, that was wonderful information. Thank you so much for everything that you gave us in that great PowerPoint. I'm going to now unmute everybody, and if you want to start asking questions, you can raise your hand and Eva will call on you. Eva, can you see the people that have their hands raised?
Oh yeah, my screen went blank for a second. I see Leslie.
Hi, Eva.
Hi.
You said something that very interesting to me. You said that governing 4, which is the Mingmen location, is the source of triple warmer. What do you mean by source?
It's Mingmen is energy. Mingmen is energy that the warmth of a Mingmen is a source of energy for triple warmer. Meaning triple warmer doesn't have an organ. It's an energy, it's a pathway, right? It's just simple energy in the body. That power comes from Mingmen.
So could you say that last part again? It didn't come through. There was some background noise.
That initial spark for triple warmer comes from Mingmen.
Okay. Okay. So that's where triple warmer gets its energy?
It's a beginning spark. We have to keep
Okay. It's the beginning.
Just the beginning. That power sits there. When
Okay.
you're working with Mingmen, you have to remember that water carries energy and a protective. This is a protective energy to keep us safe. This is the energy that governs us and secures us. Therefore,
Okay.
the initial spark comes from Mingmen, so we are well. It's the energy that works together with steam. It's an organ. It's a source, and that source is Mingmen.
Okay. Thank you.
Well,
I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone because there is a lot of background noise. So you can raise your hand and Eva will call on you, and then you can unmute yourself by going down to the bottom left corner and hitting the mute button.
Michelle, how do you raise your hand?
Raising the hand is a little more complicated, so I think we won't do that one right now.
Okay, so if somebody wants to speak, how would they let
You can
Eva
just
know?
wave their hand.
Or just actually wave your hand?
Actually
Okay.
wave your hand. Yeah.
All right, thanks.
I think Patricia has something to say. Patricia, can you unmute yourself?
Hi, Eva, it's Patty. Can you hear me?
I hear you, but I don't see you. So go ahead, Patty.
Is there a way that you could email your slides that have all that wonderful information? I couldn't write fast enough.
You know what? I am going to work with Michelle and see what we can do to make this information available, because I put all of that information, guys, for you. And I want you to have it. My deepest desire is so you are successful practitioners, but I'm going to work with Michelle to make sure all the parts of the presentation are intact with all the regulations we have at Inner Source.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there, Mindy? I see Mindy, you have a
Mindy, where is
question?
Mindy? I don't see Mindy. Mindy, go ahead. I don't see you. I don't hear you.
Yeah, Mindy, we can't hear you. You're unmuted, but we still can't hear you. Can you check your volume on your computer?
Mindy, where are you?
Yeah, we still can't hear you, Mindy.
I see you, but are you moving your lips? But we cannot hear you. We cannot hear you, Mindy.
Mindy, you can go to the chat button on the bottom. If you take your cursor down to the bottom, and you can actually type in your message there, and we'll be able to read your question there. And while we're waiting for Mindy to do that, does anyone else have a question? If you do, you can just unmute yourself and start talking, because I can't see everyone.
I'm curious if you are guys using the penetrating flow. From my experience for the last 4 years, very few students use it in a broad aspect of the technique.
I have a question here. I have Mindy's question here, Eva. She says the tailbone tap, what is it exactly, and where can I read about it?
Tailbone tap, it comes from Donna's presentations. Tailbone tap, usually when you have a person with grounding issues, you tapped the feet, you did the vortex, you worked with kidneys, you tapped stomach, you spooned the feet, you opened the gates, you did everything for grounding what you could think about, and still person doesn't ground. When you do tailbone tap, I only seen Donna doing it once. Donna will tap the tailbone to release the energy, but she also will spoon the spine. So instead of spooning the feet, she spoons the spine, and then suddenly energy releases, goes, and the person grounds. Because when the energy gets into the body through the both legs, it should, the tailbone tap, the coccyx is like kind of we are like a tripod. So from the coccyx, energy goes all the way down. Whatever you accumulate extra goes down back to earth. It sends back to earth. So let's say like eating breakfast, there is only that many eggs you can eat for breakfast, right? So you only probably are good with 1 or 2. If you eat too many, your body doesn't want it. So the same is with energy. When your legs take too much energy from earth, that energy can turn around and be sent back to earth through your coccyx. Therefore, tailbone tap releases whatever was accumulated and it's too much. And remember, when kidney energy goes up the legs, it goes through the coccyx, up the spine, turns around down through the midline, goes to bladder, so that energy generates there. And people, because psoas muscle accumulates so much emotions, people may start releasing emotions, including really crying, because that faucet was opened up and energy finally releases and all the emotions flood out. So when you tap person, be gentle or tell them you do it yourself. sometimes people can think like this is a place when people were exposed to slapping or some kind of physical punishment by parents, and you start slapping it for them, it can bring bad memory of spanking. You don't want to do it, so you show them on your own body.
Thank you, Eva. Any other questions for Eva? Since I can't see everyone, if you have a question, please just unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions, Eva, so I think we might. Oh, go ahead.
No, I don't have a question, Eva, but that was great. I really loved it. The information was so good. Really, really good. I loved it. Great job.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.